Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Lessons in Creativity with your host, Sydney Price. Hi, we made it. We made it through month 1. I just want to say I really appreciate you guys so much for supporting me in this podcast, this digital series, because it's more than just a podcast. It's so many different elements, and I just really want to say thank you. So thank you guys so much for just rocking with me in my journey and what that has kind of looked like throughout the years. It has definitely shifted and changed, and you guys have just been there like every step of the way and supporting the evolutions, the ebbs, the flows. So thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting this podcast. But we're here, so let's just dive in. By the time you're seeing this, we're in a whole new month. We're in May, but I'm recording this actually in April. And what's crazy is this time of year is very full circle for me. I definitely feel rejuvenated, or like I definitely feel like my new year starts in like March or April, like wherever the beginning of spring is, that's where I feel like my new year begins. And I say that because obviously spring itself, it's just like new beginnings, things are starting to grow and emerge after the winter months and the fall months. So I definitely feel that way myself. It's also a little bit after my birthday, so that itself, my birthday's in January. All the Capricorns stand up. But I just feel like January is already the start of the new year, already the start of something new. I say all that to say I've been doing a ton of reflection around this time of the year. Like I am reflecting and also just feeling a lot of new and old feelings. It feels very symbolic for me to kind of be walking through this time of my life. And I don't know, I think I'm really just trying to take it all in as like another element to my own development and my own growth. And a huge part of my development and growth has happened within my career and like my work and my creativity. So in this episode, I just want to talk to you guys about what it looks like to balance a corporate career and a creative lifestyle. And for me, my journey has been very up and down. I talk all about how like the creative journey is not linear, and you know, my journey has just not been linear. So to give you some background, I've been creating since 2015, just creating. This is not to monetize, not to make money, nothing, just doing it for the sake of it. I remember starting like my first YouTube channel in my bedroom with an iPod Touch. So yeah, that was like the beginnings for me. Fast forward to college, I did a ton of freelancing. I started my business, Sid the Creative LLC, in 2018. I started it, got it officiated, I think that's the term, in 2020. So I have been doing it for a little minute now. But yeah, freelancing was my first gig because I didn't have those creative opportunities given to me in the spaces that I was in. Growing up in a small town, I just didn't have like those opportunities. So I created them, and that's cool. But then going to college, my degree was in psychology, something totally different from anything really creative. And you know, I needed a creative outlet. So my gig was kind of my creative outlet at the time. And y'all, I was making like $200 a month. Actually, maybe even less than that, like $100 to $200 a month. I had like an internship that paid me $100 a month. And like I was getting little gigs here and there. And I wasn't charging much, clearly, or doing it for free. That was kind of like what it looked like in college for me. And I was just practicing, really just getting my reps in, really to build out what I guess my career was going to look like for me. Post-college, my first job was in tech. That was such a huge role for me to take on, and I don't think I really understood the magnitude entirely, but it was something I really wanted though. I worked really hard. Aside from freelancing in college, I did a ton of networking, creating connections, you know, the whole nine. That was like something I really wanted for myself, like stability, being able to just jumpstart my career. So I did that, went into corporate, and honestly, nothing prepares you for corporate. Like if you are a creative person, nothing prepares you to go into a corporate environment like that. So I'm grateful that I did have support from family just to kind of like help me to, I guess, get in the mindset of what that would look like. But I don't know, I don't feel like anything truly prepares you. So I went in, I think I did the best that I could do at the time. I was 20 years old when I graduated from college. So first job out of college, being in such a huge role, and I did have quite a bit of responsibility put on me at the time. It was just a shock. I definitely felt imposter syndrome, and I felt like, how am I gonna do this? And the balancing of it all was so hard. And I also had a lot of other personal things going on at the time too. So it was just a really interesting time for me. At the same time, I was trying to still build Sid the Creative, not really taking on as many clients or doing creative work, but just creating on YouTube. And I was sharing some of my journey with you guys at the time. And it was really inconsistent because, like I said, a lot going on, but I was still trying and figuring that out. So my first job was a contract job, and at the end of it, it wasn't renewed, unfortunately, but it allowed me to go back into freelancing. And I think that is a huge pivot for me, because when I tell you I learned so much, my first time going all in fully as an adult freelancing was one of the most eye-opening moments of my life. I had an apartment at the time, so I was paying bills, okay? And that level of responsibility, I think I was so excited to take on, but at the same time, not having a stable 9 to 5 and being a person who really values stability, like I said before, it just gave me so much anxiety. So every single day, if I wasn't working, then I was just I was anxious, and I felt really guilty if I wasn't doing anything. So I felt this huge need to be very productive during that time. It was about 3 or 4 months that I was just not working for a corporation. I was working for myself. Thankfully, I was able to secure clients. I kind of shifted my pricing and my rates and everything to accommodate my lifestyle, changed my business model to fit that as well. And that took a ton of research, a ton of asking people, and feel free to let me know if you want to know more about how I did that too, because I recently, after 2 more years, shifted that entire thing as well. But I was able to make the money month to month, and it was barely, I was barely making it. And I'm just so proud of myself, really, because it is not easy to be fresh out of college, first job done, and you are still figuring it out, but making money off of my craft enough to sustain myself. So I don't really know exactly the numbers that I made around that time, but it was enough. So blessed to be able to say that. However, it came with so much anxiety. So fast forward, I get a new job, and I try this balancing thing of doing both the freelancing and working in a corporate environment. And when I tell you, it was also interesting, but the anxiety went away. Most of my anxiety definitely went away after I had that job. And I think it was a huge eye-opener for me to realize that for me as a person, I have to assess what's important to me in order to create the life that I want to live. I thought that creating the life that I want to live and being, fully independent and stuff meant going straight into freelancing. No real, I had no savings for freelancing. I had no plan. I just went at it. So I definitely think that going back into corporate made me realize I needed that structure again. I got a different tech job, and honestly, I was not happy. I did not like that job, but I knew it would pay the bills, and then I would do what I wanted to do creatively outside of that. So I think that's the space that a lot of people are in, right? Where they're kind of balancing something they don't want to do, but that pays the bills, and something that they really do want to do. And that was such an interesting time for me, but I would say that it taught me that that's not the space I want to be in either. And that's really tricky, because that's more common than the latter. It's more common for you to be in a space where you're balancing 2 things like that, rather than going all in or not even doing it at all, or I don't know, rather than any other combination. That was really hard for me to grapple with as someone who's very, very passionate and very, very Gen Z in this way, where I'm I want to do something that makes me happy, And I feel like that is okay, and that is doable. It exists. So I ended up getting laid off from that job, actually. I think I was there for 6 months, 6 to 8 months. I don't know. But it was a shock, because I kind of felt like I went through 2 layoffs in a way, but it was a shock, but then it was also a huge redirection. I was and I made a video talking about the redirection that this kind of gave me, and I was just like, okay, well, I guess this is my sign to go back into freelancing. Like, what? But I had a different perspective now, like from doing freelancing full time to balancing a corporate job and freelancing at the same time. There was also a period of time where I stopped creating altogether, and I was like, I'm not going to do any of that because it was so anxiety inducing. So I think I had a good mix of experience to work with. So after that happened, I took a different approach, but it still wasn't perfect. I think I definitely soared way more than I did the first time that I made that leap. And my second leap was way more organized. I had way more intention and direction for where I wanted to go and how to kind of create a roadmap for myself. But I still wanted stability. And, there was just too much going on in the world at the time for me to feel like I could just sustain being a freelancer. And I felt like there was also some inner work that I needed to do, right? Like it's like cool to be a freelancer, but it's cool when you're making money. And it's like not when you're not. I don't know. Like that was something I had to like work on. I'm still kind of working on. Yeah, like not to say your value diminishes if you're not making money, but it's like it's more stressful in a way personally for me. So anyways, I went back into the space of making just enough, and I was like, just enough is not sustainable for me. So I got another job and now we're here. So now I kind of balance both, and I do work a 9 to 5, but it's one that is in alignment with what I want to do. And I think that was my sweet spot. I was like, finally, my first role where I'm doing exactly what I want to do for myself entirely, just, for a business. And I think that's okay. Like, the mindset shift that I've had to make is one where this is an experience for me and allowing me to learn and to grow and to use these tools for myself, for my business, to be better in the space that I'm in, at the job that I'm at, so I feel like there's so many different layers to it. So that background I gave that background to kind of paint the picture for you of where I have been and where I'm at now, but also to allow you to feel less alone in your own experience, because I know that there are a lot of creators or freelancers that feel like they're just doing it alone, like their experience is happening in isolation, and it's not. So then I guess to pivot from that, what is the solution? I found that the solution to balancing freelancing and a 9 to 5 is to have a creative lifestyle. So I've kind of been hinting at that throughout the entire episode, but having a creative lifestyle allows you to integrate creativity into your everyday life, into your everyday routine. And that is not to say that you're always working, right? The life of a freelancer is pretty much 24/7 and not 9 to 5, but being a creative is that, like, you are always a creative. It doesn't matter if you are working in your creativity or just existing in your creativity. So I have learned that and recognized that as the sweet spot for me. And now, like, my creativity overlaps with my work life, with my personal life, with everything. And that allows me to still be able to do both. So the balance has looked like structure. It's looked like having moments of movement and having moments of stillness, but also it's looked like really listening to myself and honing my life, creating my life the way I want it to look. And I think it's very unique to you. So I think I could go ahead and break down what my everyday life looks like, but I don't even know if that would really do it justice. I think that it is a personal journey. It is you asking yourself, when am I most creative? When am I not? When do I feel like I am in a space to produce things, and when am I in a space to just exist or to take in? And just like creating your life that way. What opportunities can I learn from, and what opportunities can I just sustain and maintain? Because at each point of my journey, I feel like I needed a job for different things, and recognizing what role that job was playing at each point was pivotal for me. So I really do hope that you guys took something from my journey, because this is something that I wish someone had told me when I was like going through it and trying to figure it out. So if you have any thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching another episode of Lessons in Creativity, and I'll see you in the next one.